The truth behind epiphany. Your brain is not a thinking machine, but a cosmic receiver. True epiphany is never the result of your own deliberate thinking. It happens when your brain momentarily tunes into the database of the higher dimensional universe. All views in this video are merely the creator's speculative theories, not absolute universal truths. Please watch with a rational and open mind. Every flash of genius, every sudden spark of inspiration you have ever had in your life, none of them truly originates from you. You may believe you are an independent, autonomous thinker, but in reality, your physical brain is nothing more than a biological receiver. Invisible to the human eye, an enormous cosmic information field hovers above us at all times, storing every record of the universe's past, present, and future. The saints, sages, and geniuses throughout history, as well as those who experience prophetic dreams and premonitions of the future, are not inherently smarter than ordinary people. They simply adjust their biological receivers to a specific frequency, successfully gaining higher dimensional access to this ultimate database beyond our three-dimensional world. This is no arbitrary fantasy or pseudoscientific speculation. Countless ancient records, buried by the passage of time, have documented this mysterious phenomenon of instantaneous higher dimensional connection for thousands of years. Accounts chilling enough to send a shiver down your spine. To understand how human epiphany occurs, we can look at a bizarre recorded case from ancient Chinese text, typing Guangji. During the Tang Dynasty, there lived a reclusive practitioner in the Zhangjiao Mountains. For the first half of his life, he was extraordinarily ordinary, even intellectually slow. He struggled to comprehend basic literary works and could not master simple writing skills. One night, however, he fell victim to a strange illness and slipped into a deep coma that lasted 7 days and 7 nights. His family prepared for his funeral, believing he had passed away. Yet he suddenly woke up. The first words he spoke were in an extremely archaic language that even the most erudite scholars of his era could not understand. Even more inexplicably, after waking, he effortlessly mastered astronomy, astrology, and the laws of heaven and earth. He could even recite ancient esoteric texts that had never been recorded or circulated in the mortal world. People at the time thought he was an immortal descended to earth. But interpreted through the lens of higher dimensional information theory, his 7-day coma was far from an illness. It was a state in which his three-dimensional physical consciousness was completely detached. His brain receiver was forcibly calibrating and matching higher dimensional cosmic signals. The so-called sickness was merely the physical overload and system crash of his fragile human body, caused by the instantaneous influx of massive higher dimensional data streams. Ancient practitioners referred to this channel connecting mortal consciousness to higher dimensions as the void realm or the hidden cosmic repository. Most people assume memories are stored exclusively in brain cells, but this is a misconception. Human brain cells only act as temporary cache storage. All core, eternal data resides in the higher dimensional cosmic void. Another well-documented case comes from biographies of immortals, featuring the ancient sage Sun Tuan. He was famous for his extreme long sleep, often slumbering for months or even years on end. Emperors of the Zhou and Song dynasties repeatedly sought an audience with him, only to find him asleep. The world believed he was idle, resting, or practicing some mysterious sleep cultivation technique. But ancient texts reveal a critical detail. Every time Sun Tuan awoke from his profound slumber, he could accurately predict major world events and effortlessly draw the intricate primordial Taiji diagram, which encapsulates the evolutionary laws of the entire universe. During his deep sleep, his bodily functions dropped to their minimum state, and all 5 physical senses of the three-dimensional world were completely shut down. In modern psychology, the state is defined as complete sensory deprivation. In this condition, the human brain reverts to its primal quantum entanglement state. It was through this deep sleep that Sun Tuan adjusted his consciousness frequency to perfectly align with the higher dimensional cosmic database. What he experienced in his dreams was not empty illusion. He was browsing the operational trajectory of human civilization and the cosmic blueprint within the higher dimensional information field. He did not create universal theories, he was merely a transporter of higher dimensional wisdom. This also explains why many people experience sudden epiphanies during moments of extreme despair, agony, or near-death encounters. Only when the defense mechanisms of your three-dimensional physical body completely collapse will the spiritual firewall that blocks your higher dimensional perception crack open. Let's explore another groundbreaking ancient record from the Song dynasty's Yi Jianzi, telling the story of a scholar named Liu Dao. Liu Dao studied classics and poetry diligently for decades, but never grasped the core essence of knowledge. As the imperial examination approached, immense academic pressure pushed him to the brink of mental collapse. Late one night, overwhelmed by despair, he walked to a well intending to end his life. The moment he leaped down, time seemed to slow to a standstill. Instead of falling into the water, his consciousness entered a bizarre dimension composed of countless flowing light strands. This space had no up or down, no past or future. All human text, history, and knowledge surged into his mind through his senses like tangible flowing water. When he regained consciousness, he found himself lying safely on the grass beside the well. What followed stunned everyone. He not only achieved top honors in the imperial examination, but also answered the most obscure and tricky questions from examiners instantly with flawless precision. It was as if the moment every question was raised, the standard answer from the higher dimensional database automatically popped up in his mind. Later, Liu Dao confided in his friends that at that moment beside the well, he was not thinking on his own. It felt as if an invisible hand plucked a string deep within his consciousness, and the moment the string vibrated, all the universal secrets of heaven and earth were laid bare to him. This cognitive revelation is utterly subversive. It proves that our modern scientific research, logical reasoning, and deliberate rumination are extremely inefficient. It is equivalent to a primitive human laboriously starting a fire by rubbing sticks, while the higher dimensional cosmic database already stores the complete principles and technology of nuclear fusion. This raises a critical question. Did historical geniuses who created epic-making achievements such as Zhang Heng, inventor of the seismograph, and King Wen of Zhou, who compiled the I Ching, rely merely on ordinary human brain power to conceive ideas that far surpass their era? Comprehensive annotations of the I Ching records a well-known event. King Wen was imprisoned and compiled the I Ching for 7 full years. King Wen was confined in a dark, damp dungeon with no access to books, information, or external communication. Under such harsh and isolated conditions, ordinary human logical thinking would have long broken down in madness. Yet in this desperate situation, he deduced the 64 hexagrams which decode the cyclic laws of heaven, earth, and all universal phenomena. The absolute silence of the dungeon and the extreme physical suffering of his mortal body accidentally cut off all three-dimensional interference signals. Trapped in the dark cell, his brain became a high-power cosmic receiver, directly connecting to the underlying logical code of the universe. The 64 hexagrams were not calculated by King Wen through human thinking. They were a perfect projection of higher dimensional data onto the mortal world. However, accessing the higher dimensional cosmic database is not an unqualified blessing. The capacity and bearing capacity of the human three-dimensional body and brain are extremely limited. It is like attempting to download the entire data of the internet through an ancient telephone line. The only inevitable result is complete hardware burnout. Ancient records are filled with cases of physical and mental collapse caused by accidental higher dimensional access. Those who appear insane, rambling incoherently yet occasionally predicting future events accurately, are not truly mentally ill in the conventional sense. They accidentally broke open the gateway to the higher dimensional database, but their limited mental bandwidth left their consciousness overwhelmed and shattered by the massive torrent of cosmic information. They witnessed truths and heard cosmic frequencies forbidden for mortal humans. Their souls wandered lost in the higher dimensional realm, unable to return to their physical bodies. This explains why ancient spiritual practitioners prioritize mental stability and spiritual discipline above all else. Strip away the mystical facade of spiritual cultivation, and its essence is simple: upgrading the pressure resistance of your physical and spiritual hardware, and expanding the bandwidth of your cosmic receiver. Only when your mind is steady enough and your body's energy field powerful enough can you withstand the devastating impact of massive higher dimensional information during connection, achieving true spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Have you ever experienced moments where a familiar scene strikes you instantly, as if you have lived it before or seen it in a dream? Or dreamed of intricate, logically rigorous, otherworldly architectures that do not exist in the physical world at all? Do not dismiss these experiences as mere illusions. They are faint overflow signals from the higher dimensional database, received accidentally when your brain operates at a low frequency. Beneath the calm surface of our three-dimensional physical world, the vast, profound higher dimensional database that stores all universal ultimate truths is silently observing every one of us. At any unintended moment, any of us can become a mortal receiver chosen by the cosmos. If the human brain is merely a cosmic receiver, what happens to our consciousness after death? Does it vanish completely, or is it recycled, sorted, memory wiped, and reborn through the higher dimensional database? In upcoming videos, we will uncover more forbidden ancient truths that challenge all cognition. Why do ancient teachings say divine presence stands 3 feet above your head? What higher dimensional monitoring mechanism exists within that tiny distance? What cosmic law allows the ancient mythical creatures recorded in the Shanhai Jing to preserve their forms after death or transform into mountains and rivers? What endless energy cycle connects their three-dimensional physical forms to the higher dimensional universe? Stay tuned.